Something extraordinary is unfolding right now, and if you are hearing these words, it is worth asking yourself why this exact moment found you instead of passing you by. This is not another ordinary day drifting unnoticed through the rhythm of life. July 22nd carries a different vibration altogether. It represents a rare opening, a point where the unseen layers of existence become unusually close to the surface, allowing truths that have remained buried to begin revealing themselves. It is as though reality itself has paused long enough for something ancient within your spirit to awaken, something that has been waiting patiently for the right moment to rise. Perhaps you've already sensed it without fully understanding what it was. A quiet feeling that refuses to disappear. A persistent inner pull that no amount of distraction could erase. A growing awareness that something important is approaching, even if you could not explain it with logic. That feeling is not fear. It is not confusion. It is not your imagination creating stories where none exist. It is the unmistakable recognition that your soul has already perceived a shift long before your conscious mind could find words for it. Deep inside, a silent voice has been urging you to become ready, repeating the same message again and again, because it understands that what is coming cannot be met by the version of you that lived only yesterday. Before we continue, make a deliberate choice to align yourself with this energy. Support this message by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and making a conscious commitment to stay present, because the transformation unfolding now does not pause for uncertainty or hesitation. Some opportunities arrive only once, and this is one of those moments that quietly reshapes everything that follows. There are rare points throughout existence when time behaves differently. Instead of simply carrying everyone forward, it unfolds into something much greater, revealing possibilities that were previously hidden from view. July 22nd is one of those sacred intersections. It is a turning point, where invisible pathways separate, where one direction gradually leads toward greater purpose, while another continues repeating the same familiar cycles. For a long time, perhaps for many months or even years, it may have seemed as though your life was wrapped inside uncertainty. Every time you believed you were close to moving forward, another obstacle appeared. Patterns continued repeating themselves. Opportunities slipped away just before they became real. Places and relationships that once filled you with life slowly began draining your energy instead. More than once you probably questioned yourself, wondering whether something inside you was fundamentally broken or whether you had somehow lost your way. But what if that conclusion was never true? What if every apparent delay, every disappointment, every unanswered question had been quietly preparing you for this precise alignment? While your everyday awareness focused on ordinary concerns, something much larger was already taking place beyond your immediate perception. The celestial patterns continued shifting into new positions. Invisible energetic currents gradually redirected your path without requiring your permission or even your awareness. Those subtle adjustments have now reached their destination. The waiting season is beginning to dissolve. Momentum returns where everything once felt frozen. Barriers that seemed permanent begin losing their strength. Truths that remained hidden beneath the surface slowly emerge into the light where they can no longer remain ignored. Yet there is another reality that many people are unwilling to accept because it challenges everything that feels comfortable. Not every individual will recognize this doorway while it stands open before them. On July 22nd, an invisible separation quietly takes place. No dramatic announcement appears across the sky. No obvious signal demands everyone's attention. From the outside, the world may appear exactly the same. Yet beneath the visible surface, something profound changes inside the energetic architecture of reality itself. Some people continue moving exactly as they always have. They remain asleep within familiar habits, repeating the same emotional lessons while believing they are simply living life. They mistake comfort for genuine peace and remain inside patterns that protect them from uncertainty while also preventing meaningful growth. Others experience something entirely different. They sense the approaching change before any physical evidence appears. They recognize that life can no longer return to what it once was, because something irreversible has already begun moving beneath the surface. If these words resonate with you, then you likely belong to that second group. You have felt the shift before it became visible. You have carried an unexplainable certainty that something important was drawing closer with every passing day. Now you find yourself standing between two completely different futures. One invites you back toward everything familiar, toward identities, habits, and limitations that you have already begun outgrowing. The other leads directly into uncertainty, personal transformation, and a version of yourself that has only revealed itself through brief moments of clarity and intuition. This is where the true weight of the moment reveals itself. It is no longer possible to remain balanced between both directions. The universe is no longer offering gentle suggestions. Instead, it is steadily arranging circumstances that encourage movement, whether you feel ready or not. Illusions that once provided comfort begin disappearing because they have already fulfilled their purpose. The season of waiting has reached its conclusion. Looking back, you may realize that the signs have surrounded you for far longer than you originally believed. Meaningful coincidences have appeared with remarkable precision. Certain numbers have repeated themselves again and again at moments that felt impossible to dismiss. Dreams have carried an unusual intensity, sometimes feeling even more vivid than ordinary waking life. New people entered your journey at exactly the right time, speaking words that seemed ordinary on the surface, yet somehow carried messages your heart immediately recognized. There were even moments when time itself appeared to slow, leaving you with the unmistakable feeling that what was happening mattered far more than anyone else realized. None of those experiences were random. They formed a quiet language through which the universe has been communicating with you all along, carefully guiding you toward this exact convergence. While many people overlooked these signals or dismissed them as coincidence, something within you refused to ignore them, because your spirit recognized their importance before your mind could understand them. There has always been a reason ordinary life never felt like your true destination. There has always been a reason you questioned assumptions that others accepted without hesitation. There has always been a reason your path carried unusual challenges while simultaneously holding an unmistakable sense of deeper purpose. You were never designed merely to follow familiar roads. Your journey has always pointed toward awakening. As July 22nd draws closer, this inner transformation becomes increasingly impossible to ignore. You may suddenly experience an unexpected wave of vitality that fills you with renewed purpose, or you may feel overwhelming exhaustion urging you to withdraw from the noise around you and turn inward instead. Emotional currents may rise without any obvious explanation. Memories you believed were finished may unexpectedly return. Old wounds may ask for your attention one final time, inviting healing before the next chapter fully begins. Everything unfolding within you is guiding you toward what comes next, and this is only the beginning of that unfolding. If everything inside you suddenly feels unfamiliar, do not mistake that sensation for disorder. The discomfort rising within you is not evidence that something has gone wrong. It is evidence that something long overdue has finally begun. What feels unstable is not the collapse of your life, but the reorganization of your inner world. July 22nd initiates a profound internal adjustment, one that cannot happen without first disrupting what has become outdated. Your entire energetic system begins finding a new rhythm. The habits that once defined your thinking slowly lose their grip. The emotional patterns that shaped your reactions begin dissolving beneath the surface. Even your spirit starts releasing layers of identity that once felt inseparable from who you believed yourself to be. Naturally, this process can feel overwhelming because authentic transformation has never been designed to protect comfort. It is deliberate. It follows a purpose that extends far beyond temporary emotions. It moves with remarkable precision, bringing every part of your life that no longer belongs in your future into full view. This is not happening to create suffering. It is happening so you can finally recognize what has quietly been weighing you down. Somewhere inside your life, there are still pieces of the past you continue carrying. There are versions of yourself that fulfilled an important role once, yet no longer represent the person you are becoming. There are beliefs that originally helped you survive difficult seasons, but now keep you confined inside limits that no longer reflect your true potential. There are attachments that have gradually become heavier, relationships, expectations, fears, and identities that once offered security but now leave you feeling restricted. Deep inside, you have already sensed this truth. There has been an almost impossible feeling to ignore. An awareness that certain parts of your life no longer fit, no matter how hard you try to make them belong. July 22nd refuses to let those burdens continue traveling with you. This is often the place where people retreat because releasing what feels familiar can easily be mistaken for losing something valuable. The unknown appears empty. The absence of certainty feels unsettling. Standing without the old structures can seem like standing with nothing at all. Yet that perception hides a much greater reality. What you are leaving behind is not the foundation of your future. It is the boundary that has prevented your future from arriving. Beyond that release is not emptiness waiting to consume you. Beyond it exists space, possibility, expansion, and room for something far greater to enter your life. Then comes the moment when everything quietly changes. It may happen without dramatic external events. Nothing around you may appear different to anyone else, yet within you, an unmistakable shift takes place. A deep stillness settles where confusion once lived. Your thoughts become clearer. Your heart recognizes a certainty that words cannot fully explain. You understand that something irreversible has occurred, even though your physical surroundings appear unchanged. This is the true passage before you. It is not a visible doorway that can be touched with your hands. It is an energetic transition between the person you have been and the person you are becoming. Once that crossing has taken place, returning to the old version of yourself is no longer possible. The identity built upon fear, hesitation, and limitation cannot continue beyond this point, because it no longer matches the frequency of where you are headed. Doubt cannot survive there. Constant second-guessing cannot survive there. The stories that convince you to remain small cannot survive there. Only what is genuine continues forward. Only the parts of you rooted in truth remain. Only the awakened self possesses the strength to move through this threshold and continue the journey ahead. Looking back, every experience that once seemed unfair begins revealing a completely different meaning. Every delay that tested your patience, every heartbreak that reshaped your understanding, every season when you questioned whether you had chosen the wrong path was quietly contributing to who you needed to become. None of those moments were meaningless interruptions. They were refining you in ways that could only be understood after enough time had passed. They strengthened qualities that comfort never could. They revealed resilience that success alone would never have uncovered. They prepared a version of you capable of standing where you now stand. Even if your human mind still carries moments of uncertainty, something much deeper already knows the truth. You are ready because the universe does not reveal these moments to those who have not grown into them. These openings appear for those whose journey has quietly prepared them to recognize and enter them. Whether you have fully accepted that calling or not, your path has always been leading toward this exact destination. There comes a point in every awakening when the illusions that once held your reality together simply lose their ability to remain intact. They do not disappear because you force them away. They disappear because truth has become too powerful to remain hidden beneath appearances. July 22nd carries that exact energy. It becomes the moment when uncertainty gives way to unmistakable clarity, as though a brilliant flash suddenly illuminates everything that darkness once concealed. People may reveal themselves exactly as they have always been, rather than as you wish they could become. Relationships that once left you confused suddenly make perfect sense. Situations you struggle to interpret begin revealing their true nature with undeniable certainty. The answers you have searched for arrive with remarkable precision. They do not gently invite debate. They settle questions once and for all, leaving little room for denial. Such clarity often awakens many emotions at the same time. Relief may appear beside sorrow. Freedom may exist alongside disappointment. Anger may rise together with gratitude. Every one of those feelings deserves to be acknowledged, because each reflects another layer of illusion falling away. Truth is not meant to protect your comfort. Its purpose is to restore your freedom. And freedom frequently begins exactly where old illusions finally lose their power. As the unseen veil continues becoming thinner, the greatest challenge you encounter will not originate from the outside world. It will arise through the decisions taking shape within your own heart. Before the universe fully reveals the road prepared for you, it asks whether you are willing to choose it. Familiar temptations may suddenly return wearing different faces. Old emotional habits may appear disguised as fresh opportunities. Situations may invite you to return to environments that once felt safe, even though they no longer support the person you are becoming. None of this happens as punishment. It happens as confirmation that your growth is real. During this period, every decision carries unusual significance. Each choice creates a stronger energetic ripple than usual. Every action shapes the direction of your path with greater consequence, because you are standing inside an extraordinary window of transformation. This is precisely where many people hesitate. Stepping fully into alignment has never depended on certainty. It has always required courage, and the choices before you now reveal whether you are prepared to become everything your soul has quietly been moving toward all along. Every meaningful transformation eventually arrives at a single defining moment where one question outweighs every other thought. And that question is not whether you possess enough knowledge, enough strength, or enough certainty. The real question is whether you are willing to move in the direction your soul recognizes, even while your mind continues searching for guarantees that may never arrive. This stage of the journey asks for something far deeper than confidence. It asks for trust. It asks you to stop allowing fear to become the architect of your choices, and instead allow truth to become the force that guides every step. The road ahead does not need to reveal every detail before you begin walking it. What matters is whether you are willing to embrace the unknown when it invites you to become someone you have never been before. That invitation often arrives quietly at first, but once it appears, it refuses to disappear. Around July 22nd, you may begin noticing that parts of your life which once appeared unshakable no longer carry the same sense of permanence. Circumstances you relied upon may suddenly feel uncertain. Connections that once seemed destined to last may begin changing in ways you never expected. Familiar environments may lose the emotional meaning they once held, leaving you wondering why places that used to feel like home now seem strangely distant. Even the reality you believed you understood may begin changing before your eyes. It is natural to interpret these experiences as signs that everything is falling apart, yet that interpretation only captures the surface. What is taking place is not destruction. It is a careful process of realignment. The life that surrounded you was built to support an earlier version of yourself, one that has already completed an important chapter. As your consciousness expands, everything around you is presented with a choice. It can evolve alongside you, or it can gradually fall away because it no longer reflects where your journey is leading. This transition can feel deeply unsettling because the human mind instinctively reaches for stability. It longs for familiar routines, predictable outcomes, and recognizable patterns that create the illusion of safety. Your soul operates according to an entirely different language. It is not searching for comfort above all else. It is searching for growth. It is searching for truth. It is searching for harmony with a purpose much larger than temporary security. Because of that, anything preventing your expansion must eventually loosen its hold. What disappears is not being taken from you as punishment. It is making room for a reality capable of supporting the person you are becoming. As this process continues, something remarkable begins happening. The endless noise generated by the outside world slowly loses its influence, and another presence becomes increasingly impossible to ignore. A quieter voice begins rising from within. This is not the familiar voice shaped by insecurity, fear, or years of conditioning. It is not the part of your mind that constantly questions every decision or imagines endless worst-case scenarios. It is something far older and far wiser. It is the inner knowing that has remained with you through every stage of your life, patiently guiding you beneath the surface even when you were too distracted to recognize it. On July 22nd, that inner guidance grows stronger. Confusion begins losing its power because this deeper awareness cuts directly through uncertainty. Distractions become easier to recognize for what they truly are. What once seemed impossible to understand suddenly carries a surprising sense of clarity, as though you are remembering something your soul has always known, rather than learning something entirely new. You may feel an unexpected desire to withdraw from constant activity, to create moments of silence, to step away from endless noise, so you can hear what has been waiting inside you all along. This should never be mistaken for avoidance or isolation. It is alignment. The wisdom you have been searching for in external validation, opinions, and circumstances has never truly existed outside you. It has patiently remained within, waiting until your heart became quiet enough to receive it. At the same time, another force quietly begins moving through every area of your life. It cannot be controlled through willpower alone, nor can it be permanently resisted without creating increasing tension. This is the current of divine realignment, an unseen movement that gradually restores everything to its proper place. Individuals whose energy no longer supports your path may naturally begin drifting away, not because either of you has failed, but because your journeys are no longer vibrating at the same frequency. Opportunities that once appeared unreachable may unexpectedly move closer, arriving with a timing that feels almost impossible to explain through ordinary logic. Situations that once seemed hopelessly complicated may begin resolving themselves with surprising ease, as though invisible obstacles have quietly disappeared. None of these developments happen by accident. They reflect alignment unfolding in real time. The universe is steadily reshaping your external reality, so it mirrors the transformation already taking place within you. Although the process may appear unpredictable from moment to moment, it follows an extraordinary level of precision. Every adjustment serves a purpose. Every apparent coincidence supports a larger design. Every change draws you closer to the path that has always belonged to you. Yet before any profound transformation fully unfolds, one final experience almost always rises to meet you. Fear comes forward one last time, not because it has the power to stop your evolution, but because it reveals whether you are prepared to move beyond it. Doubt may suddenly return, questioning your decisions, your direction, and even your value. A powerful desire to postpone important choices may emerge, convincing you that perhaps you should wait until complete certainty arrives. This is where many people remain trapped, because they misunderstand the order in which transformation unfolds. Certainty is not the condition that appears before change begins. It is the wisdom that develops after you have already chosen to move through uncertainty. Fear itself is not evidence that you have wandered onto the wrong road. More often, It signals that you are approaching something capable of changing your life in profound ways. Your mind naturally reacts whenever it enters territory beyond its ability to predict or control. Fear may speak with remarkable confidence, but confidence does not make it truthful. Beyond that fear exists a deeper certainty, one that can only be discovered by continuing forward instead of retreating. Somewhere in your life, there is already something you have been postponing. You have likely known about it for longer than you care to admit. It is not hidden from you because the challenge has never been recognizing what must be done. The challenge has been accepting what that decision will require from you. Perhaps it is an important conversation you continue delaying. Perhaps it is a new direction calling your name. Perhaps it is a commitment that feels so significant it has tempted you to keep waiting for a perfect moment that never arrives. On July 22nd, that inner calling becomes increasingly impossible to silence. It continues growing stronger until ignoring it requires more energy than answering it. This is not the universe trying to pressure you into action. It is purpose asking to be lived. The longer you resist what your soul already recognizes, the heavier that unfinished step becomes because it was never meant to remain an unfulfilled possibility. It was always meant to become action. The moment you finally answer that call, the instant you choose movement over hesitation, something deep within your reality begins changing, and that shift marks the beginning of everything that follows. Not just in your external world, but within you. A sense of alignment, a sense of clarity, a sense of stepping into something that has always been waiting for you. You are not the same person you were before this moment. Even if parts of your life still look familiar, something within you has changed, something irreversible, something that cannot be undone. July 22nd is not just about external events. It is about internal transformation, the emergence of a new identity that has been forming beneath the surface. This version of you thinks differently, sees differently, moves differently. It is not limited by the same fears, the same doubts, the same patterns that once defined you. And yet stepping into this identity requires acceptance. It requires you to let go of who you thought you were, to release the need to return to what is familiar, to fully embrace what is unfolding within you. This is the threshold, the moment where you choose whether to step fully into who you are becoming or remain connected to who you once were. And deep down, you already know the answer. There is always a moment just before everything changes, when the world seems to grow quiet, when the noise fades, when the external movement slows just enough for something deeper to rise. You may feel it now, a strange stillness, as if time itself is holding its breath. This is not emptiness. This is preparation. The universe does not rush transformation. It creates space for it. And in this space, you are being asked to listen not to the distractions around you, but to the subtle energy building within you. This silence may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, because you have been conditioned to equate movement with progress, noise with meaning. But this silence carries something far more powerful. It is the pause before the shift, the moment where everything aligns beneath the surface before it reveals itself in your reality. And if you can remain present within it, if you can resist the urge to fill it with distraction, you will begin to feel what is coming before it arrives. There are forces at work in your life that you cannot see, movements unfolding beyond the limits of your perception, connections forming, paths aligning, events orchestrating themselves with a precision that no human mind could design. You may have felt this before. Moments where things happen too perfectly to be coincidence. Moments where you are guided without understanding how or why. That is the invisible hand of destiny. And on July 22nd, its presence becomes stronger. You may find yourself in the right place at the right time without planning it, encountering people who shift your perspective in a single conversation. receiving opportunities that feel as though they were meant specifically for you. This is not luck. This is alignment. The universe is not random. It is responsive, and it is responding to the version of you that has been emerging. Trust that what is unfolding is not accidental. Even if you cannot yet see the full picture, there is a power within you that you have only begun to touch. A force that has been dormant, waiting for the moment when you are ready to hold it without fear. On July 22nd, that power begins to rise. It may not feel like something external or explosive. It may feel subtle at first, like a quiet confidence, a deeper sense of knowing, a refusal to settle for what once felt acceptable. But do not underestimate it. This is the beginning of your true strength emerging. Not the kind that comes from control or force, but the kind that comes from alignment, from clarity, from truth. You will begin to notice that you respond differently, that you no longer react in the same ways, that situations that once drained you no longer have the same hold. This is not change. This is awakening. And once this power is activated, it does not disappear. It expands, it deepens, it becomes part of who you are. Every transformation reaches a breaking point, a moment where the pressure becomes too great for the old version of you to contain. This may come as an emotional release, a sudden realization, a decision that feels both terrifying and necessary. You may feel like something is ending, like a chapter is closing in a way you did not fully expect. And in many ways, it is. But this breaking point is not your downfall. It is your release. It is the moment where everything you have been holding on to, everything you have been suppressing, everything you have been avoiding, rises to the surface and demands to be acknowledged. And when it does, you have a choice to resist it, to push it back down, or to let it move through you, to allow it to clear what no longer belongs within you. Because what breaks here is not your foundation. It is your limitation. And what remains after is something stronger, something clearer, something far more aligned with who you truly are. There are truths you have sensed, but not fully accepted. Realities you have glimpsed, but not fully embraced. On July 22nd, those truths become undeniable. You may find yourself confronting things you have avoided, seeing patterns you can no longer ignore, recognizing what has been holding you back with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. This is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to liberate you. Because once you see the truth, you are no longer bound by illusion. You are no longer moving blindly, repeating cycles without awareness. You are stepping into consciousness, into understanding, into a level of awareness that changes everything. And while truth can feel heavy in the moment it reveals itself, it carries within it the power to transform your entire path. As you shift, as you awaken, as you align more deeply with your truth, the energy around you begins to respond. You will start to notice changes in what you attract, in the people who enter your life, in the opportunities that present themselves. This is not coincidence. This is resonance. You attract what you are aligned with, and as your alignment changes, so does your reality. You may find yourself drawn to different environments, different conversations, different ways of thinking. You may notice that what once interested you no longer holds the same appeal, while new possibilities begin to emerge. This is the natural result of your evolution. You are no longer operating on the same frequency, and so the world around you begins to shift, to match where you are now. There is one more layer, one more attachment, one more piece of the old that must be released before you fully step into what is waiting for you. This is often the most difficult part, not because it is the largest, but because it is the closest to your identity. It may be a belief you have carried for years, a fear that has shaped your decisions, a version of yourself that feels familiar, even if it no longer serves you. Letting it go may feel like losing a part of yourself, but in truth, you are not losing anything real. You are shedding what was never truly you. This final release is what creates the space for your next level to fully emerge. And while it may feel intense, it is also the moment where everything begins to come together.